Hello, my name is Sarah and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a July book haul. These are all the books that I acquired in July. I want to preface this video by saying I don't really like knowing too much about books before I go into them, so I'm sorry if these synopses I give aren't that in depth. I will leave links to the Goodreads pages in the description if that helps. Starting out, I want to talk about the books that I was gifted. All three of these books are from my friend Heidi. I'll leave her linked below. First one is Every Last Breath by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the third book in the Dark Elements series. I haven't started this series yet, but I do know that it is angsty and paranormal, and sometimes that's just what I want. The next two books are from the same series, and that is Hunting Prince Dracula and Capturing the Devil by Carrie Maniscalco. I have read the first two books in this series, but I stopped because my library didn't have the third one yet, and Heidi was kind enough to get me most of these books, I think, and I'm really looking forward to reading these. These are one of her favorite series. I know these are really popular in BookTube, but in case you don't know what they're about, the first one, Stalking Jack the Ripper, follows a girl who helps her uncle solve who Jack the Ripper is. The next section is books that I pre-ordered, starting out with The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. I've talked about this series in almost all of my videos, so if you don't know what the series is about yet, where have you been? Next is True Life by Jay Kristoff. This is the third and final book in the Lifelike series. This book follows a girl and her best friend, and they find somebody who needs help in a garbage dump, and it turns out that he's actually an illegal robot. I really like this series a lot. It's not my favorite Jay Kristoff series, but it's really good. The next book is one of my most anticipated books of the year, and that is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This book follows a woman whose father wrote a book about how her childhood home is haunted, and she never believed it, but she goes back and she might have changed her mind. I've liked everything Riley Sager's written already, so I'm really excited to get to this. Next is Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Powers. I really liked Wilder Girls, and I'm really looking forward to this book. All I know is that there's a cornfield, and the main character is queer, but there's no romance. And I really don't want to know too much more about this because I've heard that it's better to go in not knowing too much. Next is A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. This is the sequel to The Absolutely Remarkable Thing. It follows a young woman who is one of the first people to find these giant alien statues that just appeared overnight, and she gets internet famous because of it. I really enjoyed the first book a lot more than I was expecting, and even though I found a few of the characters pretty annoying, I'm hoping that this book kind of redeems them a little bit. Next is a book that I have already read and I absolutely loved, and that is The Damned by Renee Ahdieh. This is the sequel to The Beautiful, and it follows vampires in New Orleans. This book absolutely destroyed me. I cried so much, and I was really hoping that there would be more books in this series, but I don't think there's going to be. The next book is Girl Serpent Thorn by Melissa Batradoust. I don't actually know anything about this book. I've just heard a lot of really good things about this, and I'm really hoping I'm going to love it. The next book is one of my most anticipated books of the year, and that is Mallory by Josh Malerman. This is the sequel to Bird Box, which, if you don't know, is the book that got me back into reading in 2018. Bird Box is a post-apocalyptic book where people can't go outside because they will see something and it will drive them to kill themselves and others. And I didn't think that it needed a sequel, but since I have read that, I've read a few more Josh Malerman books, and I've loved every single one, so I have really high hopes for this book. Next is The Shadow of Kyoshi by F.C. Yee. This is the sequel to The Rise of Kyoshi, which follows Kyoshi from Avatar: The Last Airbender. This book got pushed back like 3 times, and I'm really excited to finally have it so I can power through both books. I love all those memes that are going around right now that are like when you choose to forgive somebody instead of kill them, and it's Dexter and he's looking up to the picture of Kyoshi and he's like, I failed you. I love that meme so much. I'm really excited to read more about her, especially because she is canon bisexual. The next few books are all books that I have already read, and I just wanted to get the UK covers of them, so I did. The first 3 are the Nevernight trilogy by Jay Kristoff, Nevernight, God's Grave, and Dark Dawn. I wanted to get the hardcovers of these, but when they were being sold on Illumicrate, I didn't have the money for them, so I just got the paperbacks because those are just as good. This is one of my favorite series of all time, so I figured having 2 copies of it is completely reasonable. And the same goes through these next 2 books, and that is The Kingdom of Copper and The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. This is another one of my favorite series of all times, and so I decided to get the UK covers. I am hunting everywhere for the UK cover of City of Brass, but I know that a lot of people are also looking for it, so I'll find it when I find it. Even if it's like 10 years from now, and everybody decides they don't want it anymore, I'll find it one day, so I'm not too disappointed that I only have these two. The next two books are both YA. The first one is Permanent Record by Mary H.K. Choi. I don't know too much about this. All I know is that one of the characters is famous and the other isn't. I really loved Emergency Contact by her, so I'm hoping I'll love this one just as much as I loved that. The next one is The Stars and the Blackness Between Us by Junauda Petrus, and I've already read this and I loved it. I talked about it more in my end of July wrap up, so check that out if you haven't seen it yet, if you want to hear my thoughts about this. And the next three books all kind of go together, and that is Gaio, Uzumaki, and Tomi by Junji Ito. I have already read Gaio and I plan on reading Uzumaki next month, but if you don't know what these are about, Gaio follows a man who witnesses fish coming onto land with legs, and they start killing people and exploding, and it's gory and gross, and I really liked it. I will say that I did like one of the short stories that is at the end of this more than I liked Gaio. Uzumaki is about a town that is afraid of spirals, and as far as I can tell about Tomi, it is about a femme fatale character, and I don't really need to know much more than that because Junji Ito's books can be kind of scary. They are horror, so I'm really excited to read these. These next books are all adult, and starting out with The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I'm currently reading this book, and as you can tell, I'm absolutely loving it. This follows a caseworker who is at an orphanage, and he falls in love with not only the kids, but also the headmaster. Next book I have already read, and that is Dead Her by Sarah Pinborough. This follows two women who are both the second wives to their husbands, and there's attempted murder against one of her husbands. I have already read this, and it was pretty disappointing. Look out for my mid-August wrap-up where I will be talking more about this. Next, I got two books in a duology, and that is The Empire of Sands and Realm of Ash by Tasha Suri. I've already read Empire of the Sands. This follows a woman whose father is a governor and her mother is a tribal woman, and she can use her blood to cast protection spells. So if you want to hear more about it, look out for my end of July wrap up. Next book I got is The Shadows by Alex North. All I know about this is that this book is based off of a real life murder. I don't want to know too much going into this, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And lastly, I got The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. All I know about this is that is if New York City boroughs were people, and it's fantasy, and I don't really need to know much more. And that is it for today's video. What book are you really looking forward to reading that you acquired in July? Let me know in a comment below. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.